How are you doing? I'm well.
Yeah, pretty good. I had a little outpatient procedure done yesterday, hoping I could sit comfortably. But,
Well, you can stand up if you need to.
Yeah, thank goodness for modern medicine, right?
Sometimes, yes.
The weather is really turning here in Kansas City. I mean, it's like going to be 90 degrees today with major storms tonight.
That's not normal.
Anyway, it's rock and roll spring weather for us. Is your snow all melted yet?
Oh yeah, we have no snow, but it's anticipated to return on
No,
Saturday. So
no way.
it
No
goes
way.
from 70 to 30 to 50. Yeah, it's like a
Yeah.
roller coaster around here.
Oh, jeez.
Kind of like the moods of some people I know.
I would agree with that. Okay. So our new news, this
What is it?
podcast, and you know how I always like to try to find something current that might align a little bit with our guests, and I think I found the golden ticket.
Oh, perfect.
So this
Hit
was
me with your news.
released. Yeah, I'm going to hit you with the news, and of course, I don't post stuff anymore because I'm trying to, shock
You
you.
trying to, you are.
This was posted about a week ago, and it is about a lawsuit, and the headline reads, Alabama midwives and birth centers seek state Supreme Court review of a court order requiring unnecessary hospital licenses. And it's about birth centers in the state of Alabama. So let me give you just a little bit of history of sort of a timeline, because whenever, midwives are faced with like restraint of trade cases or even professional liability cases, they don't get resolved overnight.
Right.
They take a lot of time. And so this entire kerfuffle began in 2023.
Oh, wow.
when there was an injunction by the Alabama Department of Health, which our guest might correct me if I'm wrong, is ran by physicians, which is a little bit unusual for state departments of health, requiring an injunction for these birth centers that had been open to follow sort of hospital guidelines or hospital rules. And of course, we know CABC accreditation that has been around for decades does not see them as a hospital. They see birth centers as an ambulatory care facility.
Right,
And
right.
the battle has been going on where the ACLU took it to court and they got an injunction against the Department of Health ruling that they would not have to follow those rules. And then it was appealed in July of 25 by the friendly physicians who got the higher level appeals court to reverse the lower court decision. And now the ACLU is taking it to the Alabama Supreme Court.
Wow. Well, I have no words about that. I don't even have, it's amazing how these things take forever and the back and forth and who's serving, who is it serving?
Exactly. I mean,
Like,
and to get the ACLU involved, or in some of these cases, we have brought forward, Denise, the Pacific Legal Foundation, which are pro bono entities, because even physicians, of which one owns one of these birth centers, and midwives cannot afford legal representation
right.
to the degree that these battles with very well-funded physicians and health departments can take on.
Sounds like power.
Doesn't it? It's
Mhm.
just, it's befuddling to me. But here's the silver lining that I really appreciate, is that these pro bono national organizations and even legal firms are stepping up to the plate.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's almost like the reproductive justice movement post Dobbs has elevated rights on a spectrum, not just abortion issues, but on all kinds of choices. And, good for these people. I'm just thrilled.
Right. Well, I think, when do they anticipate having some type of answer, do you know?
So they've just petitioned them. That doesn't mean they're going to hear it.
Okay. Okay.
They may just say, nah,
You
you got
might
to
throw it
do,
out.
yeah, you got to do what the appellate court says, and they'll just find another way to come back if they want to keep fighting. But it's time and money. And in the meantime, how these birth centers function, maybe our guest will know legally, compliantly, whether they can, bill,
Sure.
hire staff. It can become very complicated. And then, oh, do we even care about what the public is asking and what their choices are? It's sort of like very complicated.
Yeah, it will be great to hear
Yeah.
Liz's perspective on this.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I'm
So,
excited.
yeah, let me just move into introducing our guest today, which I am very excited to have Liz Munoz come on. I've known Liz more closely, I would say, for the past 3 or 4 years in her work in Alabama, and know that she's been involved in some School of Nursing grants that have reflected elevating issues of midwifery in Alabama, as well as dabbling a little bit in the TMaH funds, which is part of what we're going to talk about today and how difficult it is. I've had three more midwives from three different states email me and say they've had no conversation at all.
Yeah.
Have Liz share a little bit about her experience, and you and I can sort of add ours in there as well. But Liz, we're thrilled you're here.
Hello, Liz. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for
We're
having
thrilled you're
me.
here. Why don't you tell the listeners a little bit about where you're at? Like, I think you're sitting in Illinois, but
Yes,
what your road to midwifery was, and sort of
sure,
what's your focus right now?
sure, happy to. And I know, Ginger, you've heard some of this before, but I might have
Yeah,
a few surprises stuck in there.
yeah.
So my name is Liz Munoz. I'm a certified nurse midwife and have been since 2013. But I was not always going to be a midwife. That midwifery is a second career for me, and my first career is in theater and in musical theater, which I love to mention occasionally
Yeah.
because I think it is interesting how many creative people find their way to
Mm-hmm.
midwifery.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's something about the process of being with someone and connecting that is a through line there. So yeah, so I my journey to midwifery really started in a theater. Um,
Wow.
I played a midwife in a play. I played a
Oh, wow.
pregnant person in a play. Um, and I loved it. And it didn't click then that I really loved it. I
Yeah.
loved that part of my college experience. And it wasn't until I moved to New York City that I had the opportunity to attend film premieres and that sort of thing. And I ended up at one of the premiere dates of The Business of Being Born.
Ah.
Oh,
So I, a friend of mine who um, was thinking about having kids at the time said, please go see this movie. I will, pay for your ticket. Go. You have to see this movie. I'm so jealous I can't go. And I thought, why would I ever want to see a movie about
right.
childbirth?
Yeah.
I'm not into that. And I went and I was in awe of what midwives were doing in that film. And
Sold.
looking
Yeah.
back, like it's not the most groundbreaking midwifery things happening, but at the time for me, it just opened a door to the work of midwifery and specifically the work around advocacy for people as they grew their families. And so I apprenticed with a home birth midwife for a short season and loved that. And that midwife continues to be a mentor for me even today.
Wow.
And but I ended up going to nurse midwifery school in Nashville at Vanderbilt School of Nursing and stayed on to work at the faculty practice as my first midwifery job, which was incredible to get to work with this
Yeah.
historic practice that had been around a long
Yeah.
time and to be sort of immersed in the power of midwives. Um, Being there taught me so much about what I can bring to the table, what value I add to a system, a health system. And it also taught me about navigating the health system and not losing my midwife self.
Yeah.
And I think that is a lot of what I continue to do today. I'm now in midwifery education. I am the interim director of a nurse midwifery program in the state of Alabama. And I practice and live in Illinois. So that is a little bit of a
Wow.
difference.
Yeah.
Post-pandemic, Zoom really makes things possible.
Yeah.
So I'm able to have my family all in one place and be
Yeah.
here together, but still do the work that I'm passionate about in Alabama. And I'm so passionate about that work in particular because I'm from Alabama. My
Mhm.
whole family
Yeah.
still lives there. My mom and sister are, and my brother are in Alabama, and all of my extended family.
Wow.
And so the work I do now, I see as um, my advocacy work for my community that I grew up in, and my family members and friends and community members. So it really is personal work. And, it continues to be a wild ride some days. But never have I seen so much opportunity
Yeah.
for the state of Alabama. And I'm really proud to be involved in that work.
Yeah. What a journey.
Yeah, that's it in a nutshell. Of
I,
course, there
I,
were
I,
like tears and
yeah.
laughter
Oh yeah.
throughout all of that. So,
Yeah, of course. We've all had those.
yeah.
I slightly remembered your theater work, but not the specific roles you played, and that's pretty
Yes.
cool.
Yes.
Um,
I
how
had a
many
foam pregnant belly and everything, like a pillow. It was obviously very fake looking,
Oh
but
my gosh.
yeah.
Liz, how many licensed CNMs are in Alabama?
Yeah, I check every week
Yeah.
as part of my job. I checked last week and there were 60.
60.
This is when I first started my work as a midwifery educator in the state, that we were in the low 40s.
Okay.
So in just a few years,
Yeah.
increased by about 20.
That's
Um,
fantastic.
and every year will continue to increase as we
Yeah.
grow our pathway.
Yeah.
Yes.
Great. Denise, do you have a question?
I really liked your comment about the power of midwives. I wrote it down. Sometimes I feel like we don't have a lot of power. But other times I do think, in small circles, we have more power. Um, how do you feel like, in Alabama and or in Illinois where you're at, how do you feel like the climate is in like being able to use your power?
Yeah, I think it is different in the two spaces, and it's different during different seasons. I really saw the power of midwifery during the pandemic as I worked here in Illinois. I worked for a community hospital that is the only hospital in, well, at least an hour drive in each direction.
Mm.
And it is the only place you can have a baby, even, it's even a longer drive to have a baby somewhere. So during the pandemic, the midwives really rose to the occasion, providing care for beyond our census of patients, covering, for vaginal births when the clinician couldn't get. There was a time when you couldn't go, if you were in the clinic, you couldn't go to the hospital. And if you were in the hospital, you couldn't go to the clinic. There was no crossover.
Yeah.
And so whoever was on the floor was on the floor for
Yeah.
whatever happened that day. And I really saw the organization begin to value midwifery in a different way.
Yeah.
And also personally, just watching that happen, knowing that if I was on, I was the sort of the barometer for normal, and
Yeah.
it was up to me to hold that even
Yeah.
in the most abnormal of circumstances when people were alone. There was a period of time we didn't allow
Anybody.
support people.
Yeah.
Yes, babies had to go immediately, especially if the parent was COVID positive, go immediately to a different space. And, to hold that compassion and care that midwives are sort of reared in our profession as we grow, to hold that during chaos, that is its own type of power. It might not be power that anyone fully acknowledges or says out loud, but it is, it's power in sort of all the ways that I think count. So, and then in Alabama, one thing I've always tried to take into, as I do work in my home state back into Alabama, is that the power that I feel as a midwife is internal, and I get to declare it. A system may not know how to fully value me yet. And I'd like to use that word yet, because being a stubborn Scorpio, I like to prove people wrong. So I think, oh, you're not used to me yet, but we'll get you there. And some people call it compromise, but I really think it's just being fluid and figuring out where you can impact whatever space you're in the most right now. And that hasn't been something I've been able to say all the time, because I didn't know what to call it. And I think the longer I do this work, it's not that I am changing who I am. I'm just asking, how can I help today in this space? And I think that's where the power is in my current role.
You know what we call it, Liz? We call it what's possible.
Oh, yes. I know. I love the name of this, of the podcast. And I was thinking about that, you have to remain in that mind frame. Or you're going to get really tired and leave. And so you have to keep in the realm of what's possible.
So let's move over to maybe the preponderance of our conversation, which is all these federal. I'll just call out two. I know there are many that name midwives, but TMaH to the 10 states, 15 states,
15,
and the new Rural Health Transformation Grant, and Alabama has both of those, correct, Liz?
Yes, correct.
And how the power of midwives can and must be elevated in these state and federal conversations. Any thoughts? What's going on there?
So many thoughts. I will say, much of what I will say today is mine. It is my opinion as Liz watching this unfold. But I will mention some things specifically that I think are really important. And I'll start with the first one, that the TMaH grant, or TMaH, as I hear it called a lot, is where I think midwifery has the most opportunity to shine.
I agree.
The Rural Health Transformation Grant gives other opportunities, but the fact that the TMaH grant builds in each phase of its unfolding a new benchmark for moving toward value-based care. I think that is the place where midwifery is going to be able to really shine. Not only in, cost savings things, of course, but also just the value that I see in the care that even students I work with are providing. If we're moving toward reimbursing for the outcome, for the specific better outcomes, we'll take reducing C-section as the example. If we're moving toward that, there's nobody better than a midwife to do that work. We're always trying to get to that goal, right? And so, that's where I think midwifery stands poised to really shine. And, the task at hand now is scaffolding the supports for midwifery to grow within the system. Because Alabama is a state with many maternity care deserts. And we see, this interstate, I-65, goes straight down the state. And you can have babies along I-65. But if you get too far off of the interstate, there's nothing. And so really scaffolding midwifery practices throughout the state becomes really important to reach the rural communities,
Yes.
which then ties in the Rural Health Transformation Grant,
Yes.
Right.
how to do that and connect everybody. So,
So Liz,
um,
they're in year 2 of the
mhm, yes.
pre-implementation phase, which is 3 years.
Mhm.
And Denise and I will each talk about our own state knowledge, but like how far has your affiliate or midwives in particular gotten into the pre-implementation conversations?
Yeah, so I know of a few things that are happening. I'll start with how I was tapped to help with
Mhm.
this. And this is still a project that is being coordinated. And so hopefully will occur toward the end of the summer, early fall. But I was asked to bring in the education component to really bring together examples of models of care that can demonstrate collaborative care models between midwives and physicians of all kinds, midwives and other types of practitioners, to bring in example speakers that are working together or have worked together in the past with a successful practice model, to show the different ways midwives can be utilized in a health system. So that is a mini conference that I'm
Yeah.
working on and planning now. And so that just bringing that information into the state is revolutionary in that those models of care
Yeah.
have not yet been explored or
Yeah.
haven't been fully explored. Although I will shout out that we are highlighting a local model
Yeah.
in the Birmingham area that is growing and continues to thrive in the major health system in the state. So
Yeah.
we do have an example, but we need more
Yeah.
examples as we expand.
Yeah.
So that is one way that
Liz,
midwives
Liz,
are getting involved. Yep.
how did you get invited? Like,
Right.
we're
Yes.
trying to help people figure
Yeah.
out
Yeah. Yeah.
how do you knock on the door, scream on the phone, send an
Yeah.
email? Like,
How
how
do you
did
get
you?
answers?
So in my case, I am the interim program director for the only nurse midwifery pathway in the state.
Okay.
And the people running the TMaH education wing reached out and said,
Mm.
Okay.
hey, we want the midwifery voice. Can you help us?
So they reached out
Um,
to you.
yes, and that has been the trend in Alabama with Alabama's TMaH, which is beautiful and
Yeah.
ironic
Yeah.
because that is not the case in other areas. And I'll share a story about when I met the national TMaH project manager, a conversation that I had. But I wanted to first say another way that midwives are involved in the TMaH process is in advisory groups
Yeah.
that are happening. So I know there's a group that meets in Montgomery, and there are nurse midwives that are invited to that group. I'm not sure if there are CPMs invited to that group or not, but I know that there's a nurse midwife from the Mobile area that goes up to Montgomery and advises as this project is worked on.
Is the affiliate involved?
So the Alabama affiliate is, I think, involved to the extent that they can be, or that they're able to be. They're a small affiliate, and it is, as it is in a lot of spaces in
Yes. Yes.
Alabama, the people who are doing the work are the people
Yeah.
who are doing the work.
Same people.
And so
Same
it's just
people.
dividing them further. But I can't speak to the exact ways that they're involved at the current moment, but
Yeah.
they are the midwives
Yeah.
in the systems working full time as midwives
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
in practices. So they are very, very, very busy.
Yeah. Of
And
course.
as with us all.
Of course.
Um, so yes, midwifery is involved in Alabama in a bigger way than I've heard in other states.
Yeah. You may
And
be in the most integrated way, Liz.
yeah, integrated, but somehow still just disjointed a little bit. And maybe
Oh,
that will shift as the years go by and
Yeah.
we get in the
Well,
same spaces.
the key here in my mind, and Denise, I'm going to come to you next, is the pre-implementation phase of 3 years is to get stakeholders together, is to find consensus on these value-based driven experimental models, I will say. And there's a lot of money that's coming out in years 1 through 3. And my question is, where's the money going? And and who's being invited to the table? So Denise, for Wisconsin, all three of us represent a state with TMaH money. What's happening?
Well, I actually had no idea what TMaH was until a very short time ago, because despite the fact that ACNM created some toolkits to prepare people to go to, for their affiliates to be involved with TMaH, we weren't involved at all. I mean, I'm part of the affiliate, but I had no idea. The only way that I really found out is that I was doing some research and work for the MCTA grant in the state of Wisconsin, the shortage maternity care target area. And I started to research what grants and what entities are working on very similar projects,
Right.
and also very disjointed. And I came across the TMaH and the Rural Health Transformation Grant, which Wisconsin received both. And then I tried to find information, really about the pillars and the
Yeah.
work being done. And all I can really find is, words that refer to midwifery. And doulas, as far as the healthcare providers, there is not, any reference to nurse midwives or CPMs, just really general terms of midwifery. The work that I was working on was to really, figure out what the workforce of CNMs are in the state of Wisconsin. That is not an easy project to do, because as you may experience in your state, we have maybe 70 of the 292 midwives are affiliate members. And so other than trying to delve through licensing data, it's really hard to figure out where the midwives are and who they are. So my idea was, since TMaH's grant says that they're going to assess the midwifery
Right.
workforce in the state, why aren't we working together to figure out what that is? And then
Exactly.
each workforce, the CPMs, the CNMs, and all of that. So it's all very new news to me, and I'm learning a lot about it, but not via our affiliate, unfortunately. And
Yeah.
I don't know of any midwives that are at the table, unlike you, Liz. So I think that's amazing, but we should be at the table.
Yeah. It's long overdue.
Yeah.
The story of Kansas is, I'll shorten it, but for those who know me, when I get onto something, I'm pretty persistent.
Yes, you are.
When I knew the TMaH opportunity was coming out, and there was a lot of discussion with the affiliate of who's going to reach out and ask the State Medicaid Association if they're writing it. Somebody did, but they were basically told they weren't going to do it. And then in less than a week or so, at the very last minute, Kansas submitted. Now, I'm going to just say it again, which I've said somewhere before. How we got this money for 34,000 births a year, I have no idea. But we did. And in the meantime, there has been some interesting commentary about defining what a midwife is in Kansas, so that most of the stakeholders at the State Department of Health and Medicaid office think they're talking about CPMs, not CNMs. And in Kansas, we have no regulation for CPMs, which is another topic for another day. But I continued to ask our affiliate, what do you know? We're now in year 2. Has anybody reached out to the Kansas affiliate? And this is an affiliate with 109 licensed in Kansas, maybe 20 members. Just like you said, Liz, the people doing everything are doing everything, and they're working full time.
Right.
And for them to take on one more thing, I decided to offer my personality at an affiliate meeting about a month ago. And I said, look, I will spearhead a quite directive letter to the state Medicaid office demanding a meeting in person or on Zoom, and explain why. Who would like to join me? So a couple other people said, I'll join you, because you never do this without another set of ears. And we ended up, maybe 3 weeks ago now, having a 1-hour meeting with the project director, who was hired by default, who had just hired 2 months prior the person over Pillar 1, which is midwifery, workforce assessment, birth centers, who didn't really, neither one of them knew anything about midwifery in the state of Kansas. They didn't know the difference in midwife types. And at the end of the hour, we were able to level set and get clarity on operational terms and how going forward, how important the affiliate was in the conversation. Because even though there aren't that many midwives who are paid dues members, they are the official voice of midwifery in the state, which I'm going to come back to one more time in saying there is so much going on about our profession in our states that if we're not part of it, they're talking about us in most commonly incorrect sort of descriptors, which was clearly what we discovered after that hour meeting. So it concluded with names being shared, meetings being designed, ongoing conversation as they begin to upstaff what was slow money coming out, slow technical assistance coming from the TMaH team at CMS, and an intent and a promise really to bring midwives in the fold. But sort of the moral of the story is they are not, most typically, Liz, going to come knocking on your door.
Right.
They're not.
Yes. And I think that is what I meant when I said it's a little ironic that that's how it happened in Alabama, because that historically has not been how things have gone down. So, it's something I'm very grateful to be involved in and hope to continue to grow my involvement in, because the level of collaboration that is happening right now in the state of Alabama is unheard of as far as midwifery of all kinds goes.
Yeah, it's a new day.
But it's a new day. And it's a moment to seize in whatever way midwives can in the spaces they're in.
Right.
And going back to the comment about everyone who's doing the work, that they're doing more work, trying to inspire that message across a group of overworked and incredible, but overworked and split in so many different ways midwives is hard.
Yes.
And then to inspire a new group of midwives, a new generation of midwives that are coming out of school to stay in the state and be ready for those opportunities that are coming. It's like everyone needs to go back and watch Field of Dreams. We have to do the, if we build it, they will come.
They will come.
My husband will be so proud of me for mentioning a baseball movie. I just need to say I just scored points there.
Oh, that's great.
So
that's great. It is about, I think, a post I had this week about joining ACNM and why people, our membership is extremely, I don't know that it's ever been this low in the history of me being a member. It's slightly terrifying. And I value the shared, heartfelt reasons many posted that they have left. But what is missing in our polarizing viewpoints is what commonly must happen for our profession to be stable. And right now, as you said, Liz, this is the window of opportunity. And for us to be so fractionated, you don't have to be an affiliate and say you're going to do 15 volunteer jobs. You may not be able to do any, but you can supply money and you can have your name on a list that shows higher representation of people in the state. We are jeopardizing a lot by our apathy and our anger. And I think how to push towards what's possible here. And a couple people, Denise, said they're actually going to buy the book, who are quite angry. It's so important because we get stuck in these line in the sand positions and
Mhm.
can't see our ways through it because we are an oppressed profession. So you keep oppressing us with things that I don't agree with, and I'm just going to say no.
Mm.
I don't want anything to do with you. I'm getting a paycheck. Who cares what's going on with the professional organization?
Yeah. And I
They
think, oh, go ahead.
the professional organization sets the core competencies. The
Mhm.
professional organization writes the standards of care that you will be held to in a court of law. The professional organization is written in every state regulatory licensure rules. We take them away and we think we're in trouble now. We're
Hmm.
It's going to be
It
bad.
begins to unravel.
It begins to unravel.
Yeah. And it is a knitted a knitted sweater that is sort of knitted loosely already
Yeah.
because of the history of the profession.
Yeah.
And I have this timeline that I created for a course that I teach in, and it's a history of midwifery foundations course. And
Yeah.
the timeline lists all the points of modern sort of changes in midwifery from a little bit before the founding of the ACNM,
Yeah.
and then everything since. And what is it also goes back the other direction too.
Yeah.
But for the modern midwife, I focus on just mid-century, mid 20th century forward. So one of the things that I noticed when I was making this timeline is there is this period of time where I don't have enough room to write everything that is happening for midwifery on the
Mm.
timeline. It's
Wow.
like this thing is happening and this thing is happening, and here's an ACOG statement, and this is how we
Yeah.
responded, and this is where we stand on out of hospital birth now, and
Yeah.
all of these things happened in a short window of time. And I feel like we're in that type of pace again
Yes.
for midwifery, where the timeline, when we write it out for future history of midwifery classes, it's going to be the build of all these little moments. And they seem insignificant to people looking in. But when you look back
Yeah.
and you think about how few people came together to knit
Yes.
the current, especially under the ACNM, right? And the
Right.
current state of our professional organization, the few people who came together to do that, when you think about that, it's just always been fragile. And yet I also look at that and I see the lived experience of midwives
Yeah.
that have struggled to feel welcome in that space.
Yeah.
And I want to honor that experience as well. And
Yeah.
it's holding two things at once, as we often do as midwives, which is reconciling our past and looking to move forward
Yeah.
for the future of our profession. So I could go on forever, but I feel like we're in that place of a timeline where we have all of these actions that are going to happen quickly. And I agree, if we're not at the table, they will happen without us.
Yeah.
And then we will look up and say, what happened? How did we
Yeah.
get here?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting, Denise, that you've been doing this workforce study for your
Mm-hmm.
state
Hmm.
for a while. And somehow I'm not throwing blame here anywhere. So I don't want the affiliate members to think that. It's true in Kansas that you didn't know about TMaH and its high focus on midwifery workforce assessment. Like it's a pillar one.
I wonder if they know anything about it.
Exactly.
I don't know. Like I can't I have no idea. I mean,
Yeah.
I will reach out. I mean, I also reached out on several occasions to the contact person at TMaH. No response, no response, no response. So,
Yeah.
I mean, if they're not responding to, my inquiries about midwifery and who's at the table and how are they assessing the workforce? I'm not really sure how the affiliate,
Ah.
will know. So there's, as you mentioned, there's a slowness, a slow movingness. I'm not really sure who the people are, though. My I already have my call to action figured out, but
Yeah.
I really have, honestly, this is great news to me, and we're in year 2. It doesn't make any sense to me.
I have a great idea for you. I had an attorney that I know sort of read a very intense letter that I wrote to the state Medicaid office, and I copied every single person I thought was important. The governor, the Department of Health medical director. I mean, it was CC'd. And within 24 hours, I had a response.
Well, okay.
I think the insurance commissioner, I mean, I went for all of them. And I'm like, time's out. Time's out. You at least need to engage in a meeting with us so that we can share and we can learn. So let's do it. And the state Medicaid office replied, connected me to the team of project director, and we set up a Zoom. We could have gone in person, but it was going to be hard for Tara, one of the midwives who was instrumental and worked at KDHE, and by the way, didn't even know about the TMaH grant till after it was submitted. And here's a midwife that works in the state health department. How the blank does that happen?
Well, I want to know who submitted it for Wisconsin. Who submitted it?
Hey, the other thing, this could be interesting, Liz. I specifically ask for the full RFP narrative of the grant submission, which, it is federal money, so it should be public knowledge. And they had to get permission for me to be able to see it, and I haven't gotten it yet.
Oh, that's interesting because I can pull Alabama's up.
Hey, I shared your website with these people. I pulled it up in the Zoom meeting and I said, if you want an example of a website, of which ours is meaningless because Kansas has one with about 2 sentences.
Yeah,
Here,
Alabama has a website. Yeah.
Look to Alabama. And they're like, oh, thank you.
Yeah. And it started off with just a homepage and now there's branches off of it. So it is expanding.
Yeah.
I wanted to just put an add-on to what you were saying, Ginger, which is, you're in that space, and Denise, you as well, getting involved in Wisconsin, is once you're in those rooms, look around and ask who's missing.
Who's there and
who's missing. Because that was something that really was valuable and may have been how I even got looped in to this work in Alabama. Is somebody said, wait, who's missing? And I have learned in grant work in general that sometimes the people who put together the ideas are not those that can actually take the steps to actualize them. And they have to think outside of their office and their room and bring in people, which I'm very grateful that in Alabama that's happening and hopefully continues to happen because the momentum is there. But we all know if we start to slow down.
Yeah. We learned that the person who authored the grant, who was to be the PI, left the job.
Oh.
We learned that the people being given the job in different roles of the grant knew nothing about maternal child health in the state of Kansas. And we learned that the Kansas Medicaid Association had never received a grant before to manage. They manage Medicaid plans. They don't manage grants. So they deployed to the Department of Health, who of course manages grants and has the staff to do those kinds of complex reports and accounts, oversight, to carry out a lot of the work of what the state Medicaid associations are charged to do. So it was a fascinating experience to calm me down a little bit, but also to understand your point, like who else is missing?
I have more questions than answers now.
Yeah.
Isn't that how it goes? Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So congratulations, Liz, on having your foot in the door for the other midwives who may be representing in advisory councils. And you know what I'm going to encourage you to do, which isn't my call to action. Not that you need one more thing. This is a second
call to action. Okay.
Not that you need one more thing to do. Right. But I have had 3 or 4 states specifically midwives who have been following us and knew we were going to talk about this, reach out to me and say, we have tried and we have tried and we have tried, like Denise, and we've gotten no response. And you are the only state that I know where midwives have engaged. And not that we need more to do, but I think we need a tracking measure of what these 15 states are doing related to midwifery to help each other.
Right.
Mhm.
And even just sharing your website, Liz, you could see the light bulbs go on with the Kansas people we were talking to, because they don't
I'm
know what they
glad.
don't. They don't know what they don't know.
Yeah. Wow. And that's easily found.
Yeah.
It's not like it's hidden,
But that's
but
because
yeah,
other people don't
yeah.
know what to do, and I don't know how you can get it out, but there's lots of ways maybe you could consider sharing, and we'll definitely share on this podcast in the Buzzsprout URL the
Mhm.
Alabama website for
Yeah.
TMaH, so people can
Yeah.
go to it there.
And there's also one for the
Yeah.
rural health transformation grants as well, which is a different process
Yeah.
than the TMAH. But I also found you could find the grant narratives from that grant as well. So
In the state.
Alabama,
In the state.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
It's not
yeah,
in every state. I can't
not in
find it
every
for
state, in
Kansas.
Alabama, yeah.
Yeah.
So the
So,
level of transparency that's happening is really wonderful, and
yeah.
um, I think that
Yeah.
there are the support for midwifery, specifically for nurse midwifery growing within the system in
Yeah.
Alabama, um, is just mind blowing. Right,
Yeah.
as someone who had to leave her state to go to midwifery school, so I think about if a program was in the state,
Yeah.
at that time, maybe I wouldn't have
Yeah.
left and would have had
Well,
a different journey. And now
what's
people can have that journey.
what's interesting, and we're close to wrapping up, but what's interesting is the rural health transformation grants. We have sort of a side opportunity with major health consulting firm to talk to them periodically. 35 states of the 50 have some maternal child health initiatives written in them. And midwifery is in some of them. So it's again imperative for the affiliates to look up their state rural health transformation grants and see if they're in one of them.
Mhm. Yeah.
So
Yes.
I
So
mean,
those
I just
tired
have
midwives.
yeah. I have a question like,
Yeah.
why the lack of transparency? Like, do you have any idea?
mm,
Because of the
do
stakeholders?
you want me to be snide, or do
I
you?
would love you to be snide. Ginger, I'm counting on it. I just need to know why the lack of.
I would say it's called a lack of feeling the need to be accountable. And transparency requires accountability to all the stakeholders. And when you don't know what the hell you're doing, you don't want to publicize it yet. They don't want a lot of people knocking on their doors when they don't even know what they're supposed to be doing yet. And that's what I found to be true.
I mean, but yeah, they're not even in the implementation. I mean, they're just planning. So that's,
Well, it's key because what they decide by
yeah,
year 3 is what the heck they're implementing. And if
right.
they haven't talked to people, we're out of the picture.
Hmm.
So, it's pretty maddening. It's
I'm
all I can
getting
say.
really, yeah, I'm kind of getting annoyed here. So I want to find the RFP narrative
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Um,
Good luck.
so curious, but I kind of have a nagging suspicion that I know who wrote it based off of just some of the components that are being talked about. And I don't think it has anything to do with nurse midwifery.
Yeah.
It makes me wonder if there could be some value in the ACNM bringing midwives from all of these states
Yes.
into one Zoom
Oh,
Yes.
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 every so often,
Yes.
Is that
to
your call to
just
action?
hear. Yeah, I think it is. It's a not well thought yet call to action, but it just came to me like we have the
We need that.
mechanism to get us in a room,
Yes, we do.
a Zoom room, before the annual meeting,
Yeah.
and monthly, even for the people who are on the ground doing the work. Not that we need one more meeting, but it would be valuable to know what in your state
Yeah.
and what you don't
Yeah.
that maybe I know in mine.
And why not?
And it I think it's a better use, it helps use the dollars in a new
Oh,
way. Yeah.
and continues to demonstrate to the non-members action that is
Hmm.
meaningful.
Yes. Yes. And
I mean,
then you become relevant,
I'm worried
you
that
know.
there isn't work for the midwives to do. Well, I don't know why I have this feeling. So, um, I want to know what
You
that
know what I
is.
would say to you, Denise, is bring a book of work forward. Give them ideas of how you can help and what things midwives could bring into the conversation about. Liz said one, right? Value-based payment and reduced C-section rates,
Right.
which means reduced NICU admission rates, which means less money for Medicaid to have to fork out, right? They don't know this information about costs and outcomes of care. I'm telling you, they don't know it. They are learning it. From who? I guess whoever they think they're supposed to be talking to, which is not us.
Correct.
Yet.
So, Liz, do you want to have a formal call to action, or do you feel like you kind of have an idea percolating here?
I think I have an idea percolating with this. I'm just thinking about the best way to move it forward. I think I have an email to write. It's really a call to action for myself to put the idea out there
Yeah,
formally. Um,
yeah.
that's I know what follows, which is the request for me to help make it happen, and that's okay.
You know what,
I
Liz? I
will.
I would be willing to help you on that
Yeah.
project if you want help.
Okay. All right. You heard it here.
All right,
Let's do it.
Denise.
I mean, my call to action is also, I think, starting, it will be personal to begin with, is I just need more information. And I think I'm going to start hounding. There's no name associated with this email. It just goes to the department DHS.
Yeah.
So but I really, my call to action is to find more information and then to ask our affiliate, what do they know about it?
Mhm.
I don't know, how strong our leadership is at the moment, but it's just about time to be at the table. I'm ready to be at the table.
Good. Good. Well, mine is going to be tying in all these critically, critically important conversations about our profession at a multitude of tables that are grant based or perhaps based in health systems exploration of adding midwifery in the state, like you're going through right now, Liz. And call out one more time, it won't be the last time, for our non member midwives who have the capacity to pay. And I understand a lot of people, money's tight, and maybe their employer does not pay for their professional dues. To think about what's right behind me in that book titled Possible. What could possibly happen if we increase the numbers of our membership in these conversations through a lot of ways? And advocacy and voice is the power of knowledge. And without sharing my experience with Kansas, without sharing the knowledge, they would have self-perpetuated things that had nothing to do with CNMs in our state. And that was evidence to me that we got a problem. And you can't expect a small number of midwives who are your officers of your affiliate to do all the work. It's not
No.
fair. It doesn't work. And you burn them out, and then your affiliate sits stale for several years until somebody new pops up. So I'm just going to ask again, question, really deeply consider, can you set aside the polarizing, emotional, visceral frustrations you have and come back with conversations that will elevate your voice and your concerns while finding a common purpose? And I'll stop there.
Perfect. Thank you. That is inspirational, Ginger, honestly.
Yeah. We just can't be apathetic anymore. We can't. The time is now. So Liz, thank you so much for sharing.
Thanks.
Thank you for
I'm in
having
awe,
me.
Liz. And now I want to know the work, all the work you're doing. So thank you.
We'll
You
have
know
to
what
take that
else?
offline.
And you're
You know
so
what else?
close.
I would love to hear her sing sometime. I
Oh, one day, just
yeah.
get a microphone at some ACNM
Maybe
event. It might happen.
Maybe ACNM annual meeting.
Oh, well, we'll see.
It
Oh,
sounds like a plan.
oh,
We're
as
counting
my
on you.
kids say, that would be quite cringe of me. That's what my children tell me. So,
Oh,
no,
What
but
do they know?
no, I do still sing. It's one of, it brings me joy.
yeah.
But it's mostly, in the car alone these days.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Denise, I know you and I will be planning another podcast following Liz, but we haven't committed anything quite yet, so we'll keep that as a surprise.
Sounds good.
Awesome. All right. Good to see you, Denise.
Thank you,
As
Liz.
always, we hopefully challenged our listeners and informed them at the same time, and we'll see you all back on the next Possibilist Midwives podcast.
We'll see you, Ginger.
Bye, everyone.
Bye now.